So wait a second. Let's see the evolution of Lonnie's career in acting. So he started off as the lonely nerd. Yeah.
And Marry Me.
Marry Me.
Right? Marry Me was the lonely nerd. Went to a magical genie.
Magical Genie with the Tony D one.
No, it was
Which
you.
one?
Wait, which one are you talking? I'm talking about Marry Me.
Oh yeah, Marry Me.
Yeah, you were the.
Remember?
Oh,
He
I
had
was.
that car.
I
He
was
had that car that just popped out.
I was
nowhere.
like the Cinderella. It was like the Cinderella.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I said genie. Yeah, but that's what I meant. And yeah.
And then, but wait, I'm trying to think. What were you then after? Were you? Because then you were also the mime, but before you were the mime.
Before I was the mime, it was Stay Tuned.
Stay Tuned, yes.
Dick Courage.
Dick Courage.
That's with Tony D. That's
Yes.
with everybody. That was a very large.
That was after UCLA.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was quite an awesome undertaking.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was a good film.
That was a good
And then
film.
Joey, how did Joey start off? Did Joey do any productions with us?
He was in Stay Tuned as one of the.
My first
he was
production
deaf.
Was, what's the one?
I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Marry Me?
The Mexican.
Oh, Chicharron.
Wait, was that before Marry Me?
Yeah, that was wait.
The first time I think
No.
No, Marry Me I think was the first because that was the first
Yeah.
time we got to do anything
that's right.
at OC.
Chicharron, we had a full on. We even had a production
But I wasn't
space.
in Marry Me.
Nope.
No.
No, but you were in Stay Tuned.
Yeah.
But you
in
were-
Stay Tuned.
Wait, was Stay Tuned before El Chicharron?
No, Stay
no.
Tuned was after
You were in
college.
El Chicharron, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
El
also
Chicharron
Chicharron
was
was the first one, I
early,
think.
Yeah,
early
you were
on.
one of the ones you walked up with Junior, both and was it your brother?
My brother.
Right?
And you guys get blasted.
Yeah.
You guys are all drunk. Like a pow, pow, pow. Which you guys died really good.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of little rehearsal and blocking for that.
Yeah. That we brought in the guy that now was on John Wick. Is that what?
Yeah.
Yep.
Choreographer. For
Yep. Those were some really good fighting scenes too.
Oh yeah.
You did a pretty good job.
That's a very good. That's
Which
another good
reminds me, we need to tap into Joaquin because that guy.
movie. He wrote that, right?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing is he originally.
He wrote what?
He wrote the like comic book version.
Yeah,
Because his version had exploding burritos and just like crazy stuff that we're like, okay, that's cool, but how are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like we don't have that kind of skills. So then we kind of then we did the El Mariachi version of it,
Yes,
which is
right.
basically
Whatever we could get our.
whatever we could get our hands. And
Yeah.
then Mr. Gomez had the full on all the mariachi or all the gear from the Enlaquet Center and all his plays. So we
I think
kinda,
it almost should be like a case study for a lot of
productions.
students in productions of like, yeah, you write the story however you can, write it
Right.
as big as you can. Don't
Right.
limit yourself there. But then when you go to production, you're going to get limits just because of money and availability and but that's where you can limit yourself. But then go by what the essence of the story is,
Right.
And see what you have available, what you really do, and then build it from
Build
there.
on it. Build
Yeah.
on it. And the thing is like I still wouldn't mind doing that production because even now we have a lot more CGI possibilities.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We
Well,
could do a
even
lot
just-
more.
Yeah, from a whole from the CGI you could actually show people getting shot. We could. Because I remember even back. Didn't we think about like getting squibs and we found out like, that's really hard.
That's
and
really
it's
dangerous.
Yeah, you don't know what you're doing.
You literally are putting explosives on people.
Yeah.
But
And-
wasn't it? It started out as a comedy, but it turned out to be this like emotional cultural drama.
Well, it became more of a like a lesson on just growth and his
Yeah.
whole character went from being a nobody to be having like a full bigger meaning of life.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was the big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I see where you like it was. I don't know if it was ever supposed to be a comedy. I don't think it.
But it
was
had
supposed to be-
comical elements. And once
Comical
again, like as in it like comic bookish,
Yeah.
It's
That's
exploding
what I would
burritos.
say. It had more comic book
Yeah.
than comedy. It
Right.
was more like over the top, strange things just out there. But at least it was still really cool to do that.
Well, I mean, and then to think about it, the main actor has been passed away for over 10 years now.
10 years,
Yeah, and it's like, and he was just a normal guy, a normal like homie from Colonia, and who we just met because he wanted to do video productions, and he was right there in the class. And we're like, dude, we're gonna turn you into. We did the machete treatment before machete, basically.
Oh yeah.
That's basically what we did.
I feel like a lot of that from those productions we did then somehow got out there, and Hollywood took quite a few of those ideas, even though it permeates out there and
right.
maybe even hit us. But it's like El Machete. It's there. It is, and it had Tarantino elements.
Right.
Before Tarantino had Tarantino elements,
right?
Right before it was out there like that, and
even the bad guy, the black big old black bad guy,
yeah. It
the
had
whole multicultural elements.
Oh yeah, and I think, I almost think like sometimes I look back at our older productions and I think like, can we reshoot that, or should it's like. Let's redo it.
No, totally.
Now that we know what it can turn out to be.
Yeah.
Let's make it a feature. Let's do it.
Oh, totally. We know all those kind of spaces we would need.
Yeah.
Once again, we could get all the kind of gear.
And we have a little video, a literal trailer-ish or proof of concept video to show the locations. Of
exactly.
Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to be blowing up or knocking over everything. You can see that we know what we're doing. We get everything out of the way, and then they have the idea. A lot of people like it when they see.
It feels like Robert Rodriguez has been doing the same thing, making the same movie over and over. At least all the Desperados, the Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and what was the other one?
Yeah, that's right. Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and then
Desperado.
Once Upon a Time in Tokyo.
Was there just?
No. But you're right.
It feels like they make
he just the same movie made again and
over and over.
Yeah. I mean, you said it in the last podcast. You were talking about how Joaquin Phoenix. It feels like he did that with the Joker,
right?
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of times if you look at some of these actors and if you dig in their indie films they do, you're like, oh yeah, they've been building the character for 5 movies, and then they get
an Oscar for it.
They got an Oscar for it. Because they decided to do it on.
Okay, so that's my big thing about the actor from Mr. Robot who got. Yeah. I can't. What is it? Do you know his name?
I forget his name.
It'll come to me right now. Yeah, I know his eyes. It'll come to me. Rami Malek.
There you go, Rami Malek.
Okay, Rami Malek. Okay, dude, love the guy. He's amazing, amazing actor. It's almost like it's an afterthought of to me that Oscar he got for Queen. Like it's an afterthought.
Yeah,
it's an afterthought because it's like, dude, he already earned it for Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
What he did for it was almost like, okay, just do this gig and we'll give you an Oscar. But he already had. I mean, his levels of acting and range of emotions that he's done in Mr. Robot are just insane. Compared to, a long Saturday Night Live skit of me playing Freddie Mercury.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what they is just whatever. But I mean, at the same time, did you guys see it? I didn't see it, to tell you the truth.
I haven't seen it.
I saw it. It was the most awful film I've ever seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could have mimicked you saying that, and I knew exactly you were.
And what I understood, and it seems like a lot of movies are like a lot of the problems with a lot of movies nowadays. But the main problem with that movie was the editing.
Yeah.
Like
I heard
not just cutting from one shot to the next. It's they destroy.
I heard it was blatant almost.
Yeah.
Like, which one was this?
Queen Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the person who's editing this right now is like doing like he's like.
Oh, I gotta tell you a story. I'm the opposite for that film because I actually.
Look at this. There's like no cuts. No. Okay, go on. Go on.
I thought it was great editing.
Oh, did you?
And I said it's gonna win best editing, best music,
best
mix,
music,
sound mix.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sound mix.
And something. So 3 out of the 5 that I said, it got. So
did it not get editing, or did it get edited?
I didn't hear it.
It got editing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still, a word turd.
Well, it was turds. It was turds, I heard. Turds.
Well, but that's the thing is, right, in comparison to everything else that's out there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what would we consider a really well-edited movie then?
Right. A really well-edited movie to me,
I think it's this show right now.
Yeah,
I think
right now.
the person editing
John
right now.
Wick. John Wick.
Okay, all right.
And it doesn't follow like the normal editing patterns. It had to create its own like pacing and the way that it, their choreography of the fighting is, and the way that they're not hiding it in the edit,
right?
And so it's a whole different style of having to edit. So there's not anything mainstream to fall back on. Of like, okay, we'll just follow that pattern and we're fine. So they didn't do that. And then also story wise, the way it moved, the pacing and the building of it, like it went somewhere, and that's also part of the editing. It's not just going from one scene to the next, or even within the scene. Yeah, you could edit back and forth talking to someone easily,
like this.
Like
now you're editing. Now you're DJ editing. That's what I wanted to see.
But then now
hypercuts.
When you put it in the overall arching of the story, like your editing also helps tell the arc and builds you up to the point of the end, or to the point of the.
Are we talking about John Wick 1 or 2?
1 and 2.
Okay.
1 and 2. 2 is a little more hyper.
Yeah, it's a little bit more
amped up. So it goes, but 1 had to start it off.
Yeah. And 1 started very like an Asian drama.
Yeah.
Cuts. Very slow. Almost like, whoa, is this going to... And then just took off on the second one. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a suggestion other than Star Wars?
I was going to say that, but like... the thing... see, editing has nothing to do with like the quality or the style, or like sometimes you could have a poorly edited movie, but it's what
content?
It's selling. Like
content.
Like I would always say Love Actually. I always use this example because
always wanted to see that movie.
And even Jurassic Park, Park and Love Actually. The editing is really bad. There's many holes in the plot, right? But the thing is, there are no holes in the character development, right? So you could actually follow it as it's going. So and it's the way it's cutting, and it's like, why do they cut from this scene to this scene, and why is there a gap there? But is the gap like a hole, like, because there's never a point where you feel lost.
Right.
So when a movie has bad editing, is you are lost, and you are never found.
You're just jarred.
Yeah. And the thing is, they are just slapping scenes together. And
right.
That's when I was watching the Bohemian Rhapsody. It was that's what I was getting, because I had watched the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton.
McDonald's.
And that is awful. It's a good, awful film, because every scene is simply how he came up with a different item on the menu. Right? Yeah. And then that's what Bohemian Rhapsody was. I'm like, there was no story. They're like, okay, how did he do this? How did he do that? And I'm like, where's the story? I don't know. It's just like a cut. All right, he's doing that now. Cut. He's doing this now.
I heard that Bohemian Rhapsody was like a parody of Walk Hard.
Oh. Yeah.
Even though that's the whole Walk Hard was a parody of all that.
Yeah. Everything about the movie, they like do these unnecessary like musical montages that kind of transitions you from like one concert to another.
Yeah.
And it's like there's this stupid like 70s like graphics, like with like the words will go, woo, Chicago,
right.
We're going to Chicago.
Oh yeah.
Like this. And it takes over the whole film. And I could see, like, if you were in the theater, like, wow, the color. Ooh.
Right,
but the thing is, it does nothing for the movie other than to add time to the runtime. Right? Yeah. And
kind of trying to be Dorsey.
Yeah.
In a way, Oliver Stone-ish.
And that's where I think the bad editing.
Because what they were thinking they were doing was That Thing You Do. Have you seen That Thing You Do? With
I know of it. That's the one with the Forrest Gump guy, right?
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks
he has a
film,
band,
right? And so that one, you follow this band, from their beginnings all the way up until they become a star, and then how it kind of like corrupts certain bands, but they do, like, there's character development in the beginning. So what you see in the beginning has nothing to do with them being in a band. Right, it's like showing their actual life. Right. But then
getting to know the character.
They would do montages once they got popular. They start doing tours and stuff.
You gotta have a montage.
Yeah, there was a build up to it, but this one, it was just like it just cuts in the middle of the film.
Bow.
And
bow. MTV commercial. Bow.
Yeah. And from what I've heard is like the timeline of the real story is all off. Things that are happening in the movie did not actually happen in real life. And he did not find out he had AIDS at the time
that he was performing. Yeah,
because I think they had it where like it's all like after the point.
Yeah,
but he actually knew about it way before. So they used it as some sort of like
push the plot forward.
Yeah, exactly.
You could totally see it.
Yeah, but then I noticed there was a lot of films that were coming out where they were taking a true story and manipulating it to tell something else.
Right.
There was this show on HBO called I forgot what it was called, but it was about these girls or something, and it was back in the old like 17th century. It was like Queen something, or I can't remember what it was called. But when I was watching the like HBO first look of it, they were saying like, oh yeah, we took this and we changed a bunch of stuff so we could tell this different story. And I'm like,
but at the same time, I mean, that's what Hollywood is all. Not just Hollywood, but in telling a
storytellers of that sort,
biopic story.
Well,
you always
it's like,
take a little bit of.
It's like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer, right?
Well, yeah,
you get people in the audience because they want to see They know who Abraham Lincoln is.
Well, yeah,
we want to make a Abe Lincoln movie. Well, he's gotta be a vampire.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they took something that everyone knows. And then they took another thing that people are liking at that moment, and they're like, "Okay, we'll just."
Yeah, but that's not.
We want to make a black movie. Well, he's got to be a Klansman.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is even in like documentaries. Let's say if you went out and shot a documentary, right? Yeah. Like you were shooting a documentary, the farmers, right?
Right.
And in doing it, some of it you have to manipulate.
Yeah.
If you were to literally show it the way it really happened, it's boring because. When you're seeing it in this 2-hour package, you're like, it would be better if this kind of happened a little bit earlier, and not that you're changing any timelines, but you're just showing it or it's happening earlier than it's supposed to in the timeline of the movie. And because when you see it otherwise, then what you're doing is.
That's why La Bamba is such a horrible film. No, why you have to.
You're just sacrilegious.
Do you know the story of Richie Valens that well to know if they changed anything?
I'm not sure.
Because they start out where like he has a vision as a child getting hit by a plane, and it's like we don't know if that really happened.
Not my Richie.
Artistic license.
Well,
but his death. At the time that he actually died.
Well, also his brother wasn't as.
And then they all died in the same plane. I mean, that must have been made up in Hollywood. Like all these, big rock stars die in the same plane. That's totally made up, right?
No, that's real. But I found out that La Bamba was supposed to be the brother. It was supposed to
be about the brother.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the main character, and Richie Valens was sort of the side character.
And they changed the story to do that.
Well,
actually, it still is about Bob.
Yeah,
it still is.
It's still him at the
He's
end.
still at the end. He still has that Oscar-winning meme.
Yeah, but I think I may be wrong on this, but Lou Diamond Phillips was actually auditioning to play the brother.
I heard that.
And then they're like, "Oh no, this works out the other way."
Right? No, that's true.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. His brother just recently died last year.
Oh,
yeah. We almost had a chance to interview him, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a crazy guy.
Yeah.
But back to editing.
Editing. Yeah. Bad editing, to me. Good editing, you don't know it. You don't see it, right? When it's a good editing, you don't notice the edit.
You just notice the story.
You know the story's going, and it gets out of the way. Bad editing is when it jars. And gets in the way. It's when that colorful graphic comes up when it's not supposed to.
Well, yeah.
And you're like, wait, why is this here?
Because here's what made Bohemian Rhapsody messed up, because the graphic.
Did you see it?
I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah. So the graphic comes up, and it never comes up again, right?
Yeah.
And it makes the movie unbalanced. And what makes a good movie is like if you do a style at this point, you kind of like
make it happen again
the same way. And for example, like Last Jedi. Every scene is a whole different directing style, right? Editing style and everything. So nothing wraps up at all.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
it looks like
yeah.
Not bad editing, but different editors, right? Because let's look at one of our own productions. Let's bring it home, right?
Bring it home.
Okay. Marry Me. When you watch that video, we'll put a link down in the show notes. And you're watching it, and when it it feels like a more of a, even though it's only like 20 minutes long, it feels longer because if you when you're watching it, you have to realize, and you I think subconsciously you do. That's why it feels longer. Each scene was cut by a different person. Because Joaquin cut part of it, Junior cut part of it, Julio cut part of it, I cut part of it, and then we went back on top of each other and recut things. And when you're watching it, it feels like
and that was all linear editing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it feels like you're saying though, but it feels
unbalanced.
But the thing is that made it balanced was not that they were done by different directors or they were edited different ways with different visions. They, like you were saying, they start with something and they kind of end the same way, editing wise. Like
well,
kind of the.
Do you guys remember who did like the ending scene? Who did the beginning scene?
No, not.
I mean, I want to say.
I mean, a lot of
Junior did I think he did a lot of the soundtrack.
Yeah,
okay.
Junior did
I
a lot.
don't remember editing too much of it.
Yeah, I
so
think Lonnie refined it.
Well, but you did a part of the. I remember it because I was sitting. You had me on the little whiteboard, the little video
effects.
Switcher effects. It was the part where Leah and I are walking and we're like falling in love.
When you guys are slowly getting close to each other.
It has that effect around the edge. That was your idea to put it in and bring it up. Not that you did everything. I'm just, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the polishing when you guys go back and over it, it's like you could actually look at the scene that was not done by you, and you could kind of like, okay, I'm gonna work with this, and then kind of make it build up to something else.
Yeah.
But I think because of the digital editing now, that's all like little boxes.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
The linear editing made it where we had to kind of follow each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas digital editing,
we could have completely,
computer, I could be on my
and we
computer.
could have completely structured it differently,
Yeah.
pacing wise, time wise.
Snap them together and
This
go.
one, it wasn't gonna get much longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or shorter.
Yeah.
It was just you were just gonna fit things in between.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and you could only do it so many times. You couldn't keep
Right.
editing a top over and
Right.
over and over again. You had to get it right.
Couple of films of editing styles that like I've seen recently. Junior seen one of them that like really. I mean, both of them that were different type of editing.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was called Birds of Passage. It was a film from Colombia.
Okay.
And that film was phenomenal in the way of its editing, in the way that it took place over like from the 60s to the 80s. Okay. And this was all done with a 2-hour movie. And you never felt like it literally like, I mean, keep that in mind. Like, how do you tell a story for that long of a duration? Yeah. You can't do it on this is what they did yesterday and this is what they're doing tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
It like literally you felt this family grow and evolve. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like almost like a Godfather, like Narc, before the Narcs got there movie. Mm-hmm. But oh my God, do you have anything to say about the editing movie?
I don't remember too much of the editing because I was into the story.
Well, that's it. Yeah. That tells you something.
Yeah. And I usually look at the editing and because I edit all the time, so I would think, but no, I wasn't paying attention to it.
But how'd you feel about the movie overall?
I loved it.
Yeah, right.
I loved it.
Like it told its story and brought it.
Let's just say once again, it's like the prequel to everything you've seen of narco movies, but without doing the whole either the action or the romanticizing of what it is to be a narco. It's actually a really almost like a Greek tragedy.
What's it called?
It's called Birds of Passage.
Birds of Passage.
Yeah, and like I said, it takes place in Colombia, early '60s. It shows how like a love story turns into what is now like the cartel scene. Mm-hmm. But it started off with like 2 tribes that live there. One is in love with the girl from the other tribe. And then the mom was like, well, you want to marry my daughter? You're going to have to bring us 50 chickens, 20 goats, something ridiculous amount that like this peasant guy is like, how am I going to get that? All I do is like deal coffee. But you know what? I think my cousins like have like weed farms. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden these, Peace Corps hippies show up and they're like, hey, we want some of that marijuana. And he's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I could do that. Right. So he's basically just like in love with this girl. He's going to do it.
And in order to...
And so that it just sets it off. It just sets it off. It goes from there. Next thing you know, they're like, there's more planes coming from the U.S. And then he's like, but then one of the buddies is like getting more greedy, and he's like, okay, well, we're gonna need to sell more. And then by the end of the story, the cartels take over because these families have killed each other off because of like just petty, not even petty, but just like crazy, like I said, tragedy, the real lovey-dovey type of tragedy, and it becomes all that mess. But it's a trip because by the end of the movie, it's like Scarface,
right?
But you're like, whoa! And so then
you see where it started,
exactly
and how it to that. Yeah.
It was like the early Star Wars, like seeing where it was seeing the making of Darth Vader. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is Attack of the Clones leading into Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. Even with the love story.
Exactly. Yeah. The other one that you guys might have seen that was also like it almost like a interesting editing style was Beautiful Boy.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
Right? Okay, so that one was it was about the reporter from Rolling Stones, and the one who last interviewed John Lennon, and it's the story about his son being a young guy who becomes addicted to drugs. And but the story takes place in two ways. One is like he's constantly looking for his son, who is like, escaped rehab or whatever, and he's looking for him all over the streets. But it's also flashbacking to him and his son as they're growing up, and it shows like how much he loved his son and how he tried to treat him right and their relationship. Meanwhile, you're seeing him like in complete like chaos looking for his son. But and the soundtrack is all like total Junior soundtrack because it's all 90s grunge, freaking trip hop. What's it called? What were they called? Trip hop.
Not Portishead.
Portishead, yes, yeah. So it was like really, really good, but the editing style, once again, like that was taking a leap.
See, good editing builds to something like Memento. Different style editing. Backwards, but even though the story's backwards, it's building to something.
Right.
The way it's cut together, because it's not just backwards. There's scenes that are forward, like when they do the black and white scene. It's in forward time, and when it actually leads up to where that forward time is leading into the backwards time, the black and white scene actually comes like into color.
Yeah, it switches,
and that's the end of the film.
Right.
And the only reason, because I took a movie class and we had to discuss this film. Like, what we discussed is that by the fact that the story's backwards, it helps us identify with the main character because he's constantly not knowing what's going
figuring
on.
things out.
Right? So it's not just a gimmick; it's a character development decision. And that's what good editing is. It's like, what are you trying to build to? What is your point of this film? Because you could like do a horror film and have cut the scene really great, but the thing is, does it build to the end of the film?
Well, and that's kind of like what the horror film is a good example. John Wick, same type of example of like within the scene. Let's say with a horror film, right? And the scene is the girl's trying to get away from the killer. The killer's going to kill her in the end, right? And if all you're doing is seeing her run through a room, knocking things over to block the guy, but then the guy just keeps coming, and it's almost like how they do in Friday the 13th, like he just keeps coming, and no matter what she's doing, it's not stopping him. But if you don't ever cut back to see her reaction to his not reacting, and that interplay of when you do that inner cutting back and forth, even as one of the tricks you would do as an editor, right, is you make the cuts a little faster, so it's build the tension just a little bit,
like you did in that one film, where was it Joey, the one with the knife?
Oh yeah,
like that.
And you do that, but then it's the editing language of visually what you're seeing, and because I know there's a visual language when you're shooting. But then there's also, when you're editing, you have the shot plus time. Like, how long is it up? How long? And then the sequence of what's happening next to it, juxtapose it, what's happening next to that, what's happening next to that. And if you don't have like an end where it's going towards, and it's not building towards this crescendo of an ending within that scene, it's a bad edit. Oh, like you're just seeing things happen.
This is a good example for me on how I felt like that.
Space.
What is the name of the movie Christopher Nolan and Dunkirk?
Okay.
So I tried to watch this movie because I
Junior hated that movie.
Yeah, I hated this film because.
Well, she's gonna speak on it for 5 hours right now.
Build up.
He's waiting for this moment.
There was constant build up, and there was no character development, right? And so there were scenes where they're going, and he's like running on the thing, and we're watching it for like 10 minutes, right? Him doing this thing, and then they cut to another scene, and they just like there's no build up in the scene when things are happening, right? So like the next scene. They just do all these jump cuts and they come back to another scene.
Those are
this long build up.
Sometimes those are just like historical moments they just want to highlight.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
right. Like they have the pamphlet of that time. Like, okay, we got to make sure to show
Battle of 2400.
Yeah, they're like the scene.
Battle of Bulge.
in the beginning,
it just goes as quick as you can from one.
Oh yeah, there's Battle of Rice Krispies.
Yeah. And there was no reason to identify with the main character, like especially in the beginning. He's like trying to get onto this boat, and then he's like using a wounded person, and he's going to help him carry the stretcher to get onto the boat, but he's sort of like using the guy, right? Yeah. Right? And so then they build this whole scene. He finally gets on the boat. He's like going across a bridge and everything, but then they cut to another scene. There's another soldier in the ocean. And then there's a boat coming, and it's just a dad and a son, and you're thinking, "Oh, how is he going to get on the boat?" Right? Yeah. And it's just like the boat's here, the guy's here floating in the water, and then it just cuts, and he's on the boat, and I'm like, why have a whole 20 minutes of this guy running on the beach, and then just cut, and the guy's on the boat? Like, why? There was no development for this character
because they ran out of time. They had to crunch it. They're like, we gotta crunch it here.
Yeah. I was like, no. Yeah. And the fact that in any of the scenes, you're just constantly just looking at the characters and you're not actually participating with them, so you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know what they want. It's just nothing.
Do you really hate that movie, Junior?
Junior hates that movie.
I don't really hate it.
But yeah, so there's something weird going on. I guess it's the modern films. They do not do whatever genre that they're doing.
Okay.
Right? Because like Dunkirk and even Hacksaw Ridge, there's something with the editing that just screws up the entire genre that they're trying to do. It's very like there's a lot of scenes where they just like cut. And then, they skip over a bunch of stuff that you're just supposed to assume happened because you don't know because they'll cut to something and then you're like, oh, I guess he's now driving a car.
Yeah, well, that goes to the when I was saying like a lot of the things that are wrong with a lot of the movies nowadays is the editing.
Yeah.
Or the issue takes place in the edit room. They might have a good story or even a crappy story, but they could have saved it in the edit. But what they do is they put it together. And then someone comes in and goes, scene 5A, take that out.
Okay.
And then they're like,
which is I kind of was gonna bring up a little conspiracy thought.
Okay.
I think basically all war related or military films after 9/11 are all being
propaganda.
Yeah, the propaganda, and they're being very doctored.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I hate to go back, but pretty much I think Kubrick's was one of the last Kubrick Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You look at Full Metal Jacket and you compare it to Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
saying Saving Private Ryan,
right there was that right there. That was that
Private.
right there.
Because Joey and I experienced it when we saw it in the theater of what it was kind of doing when they were killing the Nazis. They were shooting in the remember they were shooting in the tank. They went in and like shot.
Oh yeah.
A grenade in the tank. That one lady just went.
Oh yeah, in the audience.
Yeah.
Like it was like because we were in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Dealing and being with the Arkansas crowd.
Oh my god!
And we were like,
there was another scene where
and Tarantino was probably sitting there and said, "I think I'll make Inglourious Bastards for this lady."
Here we go. Yeah,
because that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
One big.
But yeah, there's
it's a good movie, but at the same time, it's like don't rewrite history like that.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's comic book. But then again, at least it's more blatant.
Yeah, it is.
It's very blatant.
It's the Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan
felt like it was an indoctrination of like everything was good. Everything we did was fine. And war has a good side and a bad side.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
They're all bad. Not saying I'm not being, there are fine people on both sides. I'm not saying that.
But there's gray.
But there's
a lot of gray.
And not all the bad are all bad and all the good are all good. And But it did it in a way that you're saying, like it's propaganda of like, hey, if you go into the military, you're going to be with these honorable, fun, great men, and only that,
right?
And no one will have a questionable. Not even just the army. Let's say they're filled with very honest, straightforward men. The people that are in charge of that, you know what I mean? And
right.
Yeah, we're supposed to be an army that's able to question, should I do this? Or
right.
And if you got movies showing it like, no, you're not supposed to question.
No, just total patriotic.
Totally patriotic.
Jam.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So are you saying Saving Private Ryan
was like kind of the start of that propaganda idea?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that feeling of it.
It's like it's either you're with America or not.
Yeah, you're either with America or not.
And the other reason I would say that, I look at also the Army commercials, and all of a sudden their production value look like it was part of the what's it called movie, Saving Private Ryan, and then the last one that I totally, and I actually bought it from a thrift store the other day, was Zero. Was it Zero? Was that?
Zero Dark 30.
Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That one was hardcore. Yeah. Like, and there was like no way around that one. Like, okay, I know what the point of this is. Yeah. And I really like that director though. She's awesome.
It's slow, but the only one I like is Lost in Translation. Yeah.
See, I wanted to like that one.
Yeah. That one, you actually have to listen to the soundtrack to understand the story.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
She was very driven by soundtrack.
Yeah, the words in the song in Lost in Translation, like you have to watch it as it's happening in the scene, and then you're like, oh, that's what's going on.
Marie Antoinette, it just was jarring the soundtrack to me.
No, that was like, I have no idea.
And I wanted to see the other last one she did. She always uses, what's her name, right? Kristen Dunst.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She did another one with her I wanted to see. I forgot what it was called. Yeah, she puts me to sleep.
Yeah, no, like I had to force myself to stay awake during Lost in Translation because what I think why it felt so slow is the advertising for the movie made it look like this fast-paced comedy, and it
was completely opposite.
It's a surreal sort of like
alienation
piece. Like it has. It's not
that movie to me is a good example of if you don't edit and fix timing of things, it's boring to watch it in real. It's like what?
It's
boring to watch.
Oh yeah,
that's what
that's the exact example of what you were talking about earlier.
See, the thing is,
it's so boring to watch.
It's only boring because I think it's like when most people went into the film, they thought they were going to see something else. Yeah. It's a real slow, well-paced film. But the thing is, if you go into it thinking like, why is it Bill Murray being funny right now? Then it's just.
So I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Okay. You want to take care of that?
Hey, look, it's Wayfarm. It's moving now.
So in terms of directors and how they affect the movie, what do you guys think? How does a director affect the movie? Because you guys are talking about a director, Coppola, right? And you're saying some of her, films are slow. What exactly in the directing do you feel causes this? Like, is it their energy, and does that affect the actors? Like, is it the editing styles that
I think it's them. It's the person.
It's their intent of the scene.
Right.
Because I was listening to a documentary, Edward James Olmos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
He was with American Me.
Oh, okay, that guy.
Some of the critics were saying that his film was methodical, but it was very slow and very serious, but still at the same time the energy wasn't there. So then I'm thinking about like some of the films that like some of the scenes for Neon Girl, for example. I'm still trying to learn with the past. There was some scenes where I thought like there's something wrong with this. There's like, to me it felt really wrong. It felt like I cannot fix it with the editing. I cannot fix it like, was it partly this person or this actor, or was it what was it? And then I at the end of the whole thing, it's like it was the energy that came out from that scene, or even a couple of scenes where I felt like there should have been more energy coming from the actors, and that's not their fault. That was my fault.
Right.
So do you guys have other theories about like the specifics about how the director interacting with the actors or interacting with the film and the editing? Like what is it that they do? Like what is it like? A script could look different with each director.
Well, like the best example is Stanley Kubrick, because like he's known for doing like 99 takes, right? So it's what his intent of the scene is. Like, are they doing it too slow? Are they doing it too fast? I always like the story that Tom Cruise told, is that he heard about the horror stories about filming with Stanley Kubrick. So when he did Eyes Wide Shut, he did the first scene and they did it in one take. They were fine. The next day, he has to open a door, walk in, and shake a guy's hand. And he had to do that scene 99 times. He's like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about? Stanley Kubrick."
He's a cool guy.
But the next day, it's just like he had to keep walking in and just shaking the guy's hand over and over until Stanley felt he did it right.
Yeah. And that might have just been a trick. He's like, I'm gonna totally like let him chill one day, and it's like he did it the first time, but I'm gonna make him shoot it like 99 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, but it's like.
Yeah.
Okay, so the when a director has like a vision of what he wants, if there's like, this is why they have to film on a set, and they have to like make sure there's like nobody except for the extras that they have,
right?
And the extras are doing everything right, because if one thing is off, the audience is going to think something else, and so then it becomes like a comedy when you are trying to do a dramatic scene. So it's like it's that perfection of making sure what the audience is feeling, because when you are watching a good movie, is the movie knows what you're thinking,
right?
And because they're manipulating your mind in a way to get you into the mode that they want you to be in.
Well, it's partly the writing.
Yeah.
When you watch a good movie, that's another thing that with the writing, you can't You can't explain too much, right? Mm-hmm. So everything that comes out from a character's mouth has to be. Your audience is like pretty smart. Mm-hmm. They're really smart, and sometimes you take away a lot of the information.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to have too much suspension of belief.
You have to. So what their words, it's all subtext.
Yeah.
So and even with the recent films that we wrote together, like. The dialogue, not the story, which you helped with, right? But the dialogue was too straightforward. Like if you think about it, I look back at those lines. It's like, I just like, oh my.
But were you talking about the detective story, the noir?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes with a story like that, it can be.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and like, well, once again, we mentioned this last time. I know that you've been wanting to work with smaller crews, right? That was like a huge production as far as for our little world.
Yeah.
And I think that I feel like sometimes, like, I think that because it was a huge production, I think, and once again, I'm saying this as a friend, I think that all that energy that was going in that space, you don't feel like it went all into just the performance. I think all your energy was also focusing on, the gear, the cars, the lighting, and all these things. And you're like, I just wanted to focus on making these elements. Yeah. And I feel like, and that's why whenever you tell me, oh, dude, I want to like do a production, but I just want a minimal. So that way you could have all your energy honed. Honed.
Yeah. And that's exactly, I think that's a part. The director, right, to me, is like, he's the conductor.
Yeah.
Right. He has to have everything going together, right? Now, as a conductor, you have good musicians. You got to have good musicians. They got to know how to sight read. They got to know how to play with the person next to them and not play too loud, but play loud enough so other people can hear it.
Right.
They know it because the conductor doesn't have time in the middle of the thing going, wait, can you play the violin just a little louder because it's not coming? They don't have time to do that. Mm-hmm. And so they pick the right people. They rehearse it. Mm-hmm. They get in there, and then even as they're playing, though, and the conductor is up there, if the conductor wants to, he can have everyone stop, and everyone knows stop, and then moves it along, and it's all under the conductor's feeling, the energy, right? Because if you get a conductor that goes up there and just goes like this and just doesn't move really, all they do is move their hands. The audience is bored as hell. It's usually when the conductor's a little more animated and you feel that energy coming out.
Yeah,
that energy But the thing is, the conductor never faces the audience. They're putting their energy directly to what everyone is hearing or seeing in front of them. They're pushing it forward onto there. And same thing with the movie, right? With the movie, he had this camera, like the conductor, aimed at one thing. And that's the only spot pulls energy. So if your energy is going anywhere else, it's not getting in front of that camera. And so for a movie to be good, because the director is there at every, in our case especially, the director's there at every phase, from the idea of it, the writing of it, the pre-production, the production, the post-production, and the getting it out there.
Yeah.
Right? And so in that, they have to conduct it all. They have to put it all together of like, okay, and hold that energy up and prepare the energy for everybody else, what they're about to see. Yeah. Now, sometimes, movies also have to stand on their own. You don't have time to stand in front of everybody and explain, well, this movie's about this. And it's like, no.
Well, not if you're Walt Disney. You can walk up in the beginning of the movie and you're like, hello.
But even so, then that's a part of
the film we're going to watch today.
That is committed
or the Twilight Zone guy.
Yeah.
This movie is about crazy.
Say. Like you could have a Twilight Zone thing where that is a part of it, is to come out and explain it. You don't get the chance as a director in person to go and say it to everyone, but if you make that part of the storytelling,
I think that's what Neon Girl should have, is Junior, a little scene added in there, Junior.
Well, what we do is we just shoot you in front of a green
You're
screen.
about to watch some crazy. Yeah, we're about to watch some crazy stuff.
About to see some crazy.
Throw all rationale out the door. Neon Girl.
And then it comes to writing, the pacing in the writing, or like really in the writing. Because you could have shitty dialogue, I would bet to say.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's a detective film, like straight lines is like it's all right.
Yeah.
But what it is,
Oh, so now I was gonna say, like, one of my favorite directors is John DuPont. You know John DuPont?
Oh, John DuPont.
Speed.
No, but it sounds cool.
Twister, right?
Speed and Twister.
Okay.
Like Twister had no real script. A lot of the lines were like improvised, but they had like the main idea of what their story was.
Right, they had something to hang it on. Yeah.
And even like the editing in both Speed and Twister is an example of like Love Actually, where there's a lot of jump cuts. There's a lot of things. But the thing is, there's this consistent rhythm of the way it's done.
Right.
And when it jumps, you're not like, well, how is it they have this car now? Or why? Where did that? Twist
well, and then
from?
All that
it's like,
is
you're not lost at any point.
All that is it has to be established. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could create the world and the boundaries, the walls of the story, and the look of the film.
Yeah.
Right. Within like I don't know the first
10 seconds of the film.
Yeah, like if there's gonna be jump cuts or if someone's not gonna die after getting shot 30 times, they have to do that pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, right? When the movie starts, the music, the way the titles come up, if they come up at all, all that right away, the font you choose.
You don't want to shock.
Yeah,
even like something, again, getting shot 30 times and not dying, that's impossible. But if you do it early on, if you do it in the middle of the movie,
you gotta establish.
For Twister, it opens with a young girl and the parents going into a storm shelter, and then the dad gets sucked out, but they are stuck in the shelter, right? But as the door is open, the Twister goes by, the dad goes. But the two characters are fine, right? And we find out that character is Helen Hunt later on, right?
Yeah.
But by showing that, it's like you could be near a Twister and be okay.
Dude, talking about Helen Hunt.
Oh, yeah?
Have you ever heard of the film called The Sessions? And if not, I gotta let you borrow it. Have you heard of it?
No.
Have you, Lonnie?
The Sessions?
Yeah.
No. I heard of it, but
you heard of it?
Is this an older Helen Hunt?
No. Okay. So The Sessions, dude. Oh, first of all, there's this amazing actor named something Hawks. It's not Stephen Hawks because Stephen Hawks is that guy.
Ethan Hawke.
No, it's this other guy.
Stephen Hawking.
No, and that's what I'm saying. It's not him. Okay, there's this really amazing. He's kind of like an actor's actor.
Peter Falk.
No, Peter Falk is also no. But anyways, he always plays a really grimy guy, and not even like a grime. He's actually been in a few kind of like neo noirs.
Okay.
Actually, there's this one neo-noir film, I can't remember the name of it, that he's in, but it's all shot as in like one continuous shot.
Oh.
And he was in that 70s movie American Gangster. He was one of the like the cops that were like, you know,
young guy, old
undercover.
Guy,
He's weird looking. He was even in this other movie called Martha Marlene, which is about a girl who was in a kind of like Charles Manson cult, and he plays the cult leader. What about him? Oh no, going back to what's her name? Ellen Hunt. Okay, so in this film, he plays a person who is like can't move his body. What is it called?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Paraplegic.
Yes. And it's based on a true story. He's a writer. So
my sister told me to watch that.
Oh,
Is that with
dude.
Jonah Hill?
Yeah, that's the one where she's
a sex therapist.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in the bed. He's in the bed, and like she like you know he's never had sex before. So they're like, okay, well, you know what? Do you just want to like get a girl? He's like, well, no. He starts talking to his priest. And his priest is William H. Macy, dude.
Yes.
And William H. Macy's like, I can't tell this guy it's wrong. He's all, dude, I want to have sex. He's like, but I don't want to like, you know, like be wrong to God. And William H. Macy's like, well, I'm pretty sure he'll give you a pass if you have to do it. So then what's her name comes into the picture, Helen Hunt. And she's like totally like, she's got a man and everything. And he understands what she does. And it's kind of crazy because they're all doing it in a very like, hey, this is what we have to do. And what's his name is all excited, but he doesn't even know how to like go through with it because he's like he gets too excited, blah blah blah. And then, but more than anything, okay, this isn't gonna air right now, or we'll have to edit this for yeah.
Is this related to anything?
Helen Hunt completely naked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Flat out naked.
Flat out naked, dude.
What?
I remember that movie.
Well, you brought up Helen Hunt.
Dude,
it is. She first of all, she's hot as f.
Yeah.
Older Helen Hunt. Yeah. But the way it's played out, that's the crazy part.
I remember. Yeah.
I watched it with the girl, and she was just like, "Oh my god, it's Helen Hunt."
Yeah.
And it was done in a graceful way.
Yeah.
But the whole subject matter was like pretty crazy. Yeah, so that's
why I wanted to see it because it looked like
don't worry, hon. It'll be done in a graceful way.
That's
fine.
Okay.
This is the plug-in for Helen Hunt.
That's also a part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Of you go in and you have actors.
Oh shit! I forgot it. Change things.
A lot of times actors, right? They, the typical thing where they ask like, "What's my motivation? What's my character? Why is he doing this?"
Yeah. And
it's a legitimate question. The problem is if your actor's asking you that. One, they either didn't read the story, or two, you got a problem with your story because they don't know why the actor is doing this or that.
Especially when they have to do something at that extreme too.
Yeah.
Wait. So I took a couple of acting classes at a university. I don't know if I could say it.
Yeah.
But so what I learned in the modern day acting classes, is they are teaching actors, young aspiring actors, to not ask those questions anymore.
Yeah.
It
sounds cheesy.
If you have a script and the character does this and does something different later on, completely contradicting, you are not supposed to go to the writer or the director and say, this is not right. What you're supposed to do as an actor is to figure out mentally
how they got there.
How did they get from here to there?
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying.
But but the director still has to, that's what the director is there for, a little clarity.
Yeah, you can get a little clarification because maybe when you read a script, sometimes you don't connect everything because it's all words.
Yeah, and it's all pieces.
Like, the most important thing, though, is that the actor, with actors have to be very, if they're going to agree to a project, it's very important for there to be like, a lot of trust because if there's a hint of like kind of not trusting then it the acting and the directing and like everything starts breaking down because you go in and you've read the script and whatever circumstances you're getting into you're agreeing to that because once you do that and then you figure out there's not much trust, then that will break everything.
And sometimes you have to work with that, though, right?
Yeah,
you have to because you unfortunately have to because you have to finish
because it's the
project.
It's the producer's girlfriend.
But it does harm the
of course
the production. Yeah. But that would be my advice to actors is if whether it's a small budget or a big budget, if it's a no budget, you got into the project, and it's a person's work.
Commit to it.
It's commitment, and because,
and it's that trust, right? But at the same time, they have to trust you as a director that the things you're making them do works within the complete story. It makes sense with it, right? But like Joey was saying, what if over here she's a vegetarian, and in this 10 pages later she's cooking a turkey and literally eating
the
hog, and it has no relation. Like there's no transition. It's just literally someone forgot to delete a part of the scene, right? That's why I think sometimes when there's mistakes like that, they should be allowed to go, hey, why is my character doing this, right?
I think that's normal.
But I said though, if that ever has to come up, there's something. If it has to come up, there's something wrong. Either
the script should have done something.
Yeah, or your script has a problem and it has a hole, or they don't know where the direction of it is, right?
Yeah.
Because
in the end, even the viewer is going to be asking the same question.
Thing,
that's probably why the actor is asking that.
That's why, like with Neon Girl, when everyone wrote all the ideas of like, well, maybe you should add this and change that, and then, and I remember writing saying, because you had all these notes people were giving you, and I'm like, you have to kind of stop, and these are great ideas, but you can't add them back in because the performances that people were doing weren't with that in mind. They didn't know that stuff was going to happen. Some of the stuff that was added back in. And so it suffers.
What were some of those examples, by the way? Like couple.
Because the ending part of the movie was added.
Yeah.
And so
oh, that's right. I totally forgot all about that. The whole not just the ending part, but even adding in the side character with the spy. The not spy, but whatever, the infiltrator. And like the actor, that kind of he trusted in a way, right? And I'm just going to say it the way it is. It might sound bad, or whatever, but that actor trusted you when you were shooting in the restaurant scene. That him putting on the glasses was fine, and it was going the way that you said it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
but he didn't know because it wasn't written yet. That he was actually more nervous because he was literally at gunpoint being told, you have to go in and do this by the CIA or FBI. Yeah. He didn't know that as an actor. So he didn't know to portray that. You know what I mean? To look a little more nervous than just stoic. And all he did was look stoic. And that you put those two scenes together.
And partly
and it makes no
he's
sense.
Not a professional actor. I mean, in fact, that's a fact.
Yeah, that's a fact. But
he wasn't prepped.
And he wasn't prepped in going in because it's like, you know what, you ran into this room because someone was chasing with a chainsaw.
Yeah.
And so the actor runs in and turns, slams the door, and shuts it down. But then you rewrote the scene and he was being chased by bunnies.
Yeah. It doesn't matter whether he was a great actor or not.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
matter.
beyond his control.
Misdirect of what his performance was supposed to be, and because it wasn't written at the time, you couldn't tell him to be the right way either. Not saying that you told them wrong. It didn't exist yet, and then you added it, and the actors couldn't shift because they already performed their performances. And they couldn't shift to support those scenes. Not saying you can't do that. You can add scenes, but you have to look at the performance that was already there, and it's either okay. If I add this scene, I have to reshoot this scene and this scene and this scene. At least his takes, because his performance isn't right for that.
And it was just a lot of adding to the movie at the end.
Yeah.
I think you guys just need to let that movie rest, and it's going to be a masterpiece in a few years. I think that you guys overly Well, I mean we should be catapulting from that film. I mean, you know what I mean? Cuz
it's a way of learning from it, because I think what I do is like I look at I learn from it.
Yeah.
Like what to do better.
Oh yeah.
Which is, there's a lot.
And the
I can do better.
And the hard thing is though, is to learn from it and move from it quickly.
Well, that's what I mean. Like we should be catapulting from that. It should be like
it should be
it should be already like, dude, blah blah blah. But our next film is gonna have blah 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 in it, and these actors are gonna be on point.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even if we twist the story, they gotta know, hey, dude, this story might twist.
Yeah.
So don't freak out if all of a sudden,
yeah,
you know, you're not really a guy, you're a girl before.
yeah,
Right, Joey?
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah, we should be learning from it. And I would like to get to the point where I look at these kids online. I say kids; they're like in their 20s and 30s.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, some of them, you know, they created their own little production company. They're not Hollywood. They're not big.
Right.
But they're putting out a movie a year.
Right.
A feature-length movie a year. And yeah, they're not the greatest. But you could see when you see the first one compared to their 20th one.
Yeah.
Their 20th one.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy crap. They are getting better each time. And, you know, yeah, you can go back and reshoot, do a whole new version of that same movie you shot 3 years ago, but do a new version of it or whatever.
New
but
cameras.
yeah, you're not dwelling on it and sticking with it. You learn, you see it for what it is, and move to the next production. And I think that is one hurdle and lesson to get over. Of like, for us, is we do a production. And
we grasp it for dear life.
We grasp it for dear life, and like this is the only production that'll get us up into the stratosphere. And it's like, well, no, go to the next one,
right?
Because obviously, when we did it and we finished it, it just didn't gel for whatever reason. Sometimes they do, and even our better ones, it's not like they launched us. You know, El Chicharron didn't launch us anywhere,
but it gave us
moved up.
Yeah, it made us feel like we could create something.
Yeah,
that was more than just a home video.
We're gonna walk up. We're not gonna launch up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I think Hollywood is a horrible thing of making everyone feel like you have to launch up. You're an overnight success. You have to, and it's like, you know, Tarantino. How long was he writing scripts and stuff before he ever got in and got behind the camera to actually shoot
and sold his soul to the devil?
Sold his soul to the devil.
Right.
And same thing with everybody else of like their anyone that you follow that's quote made it big, that seemed like it was overnight. You follow it and you're like, no, it was a long what is that? Good Will Hunting. And everyone was like, you know, Matt Damon and what's his name? They wrote such a great thing and everything, like, but you find out the real, like, it sounded like it happened so quick, and you're like, no, it was like 5-8 years of them trying to get it out and them trying to be extras, just extras in movies, and not knowing they would make it. And even then, it was a slow burn. Like, it never was overnight. And so, yeah, you walk, you don't launch.
And they did sell their soul to the devil by basically letting Weinstein do his thing, and them knowing that he was doing his thing, evil thing with women, actresses, and they were like, so whatever, we're going to turn the other way. So.
Yeah. They knew that? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I didn't know that they knew.
Yeah, dude. They admit,
Really?
Yeah. I mean, in fact, for a moment, and then that's why they're both kind of untouchable at the same time.
Yeah.
That, you know?
Yeah, because that's right. The Affleck tried to say, you know, like, well, now I'm against it. It's like, now you're saying you're against it?
Oh, well, and the other one didn't even say anything because he knew that he was made because of, you know, his evil ways, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got to say about that, Joey?
Yeah.
No, who's that? Was it Family Guy? Someone, was it Family Guy that always knew and they would constantly make comments?
References.
Yeah. References, yeah.
Seth.
But then...
MacFarlane.
Yeah, so everybody knew for you.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is, everybody knew that's what Hollywood was anyway.
I was going to say, it wasn't... Weinstein is a top of it, but there's so many... I mean, the ongoing joke obviously is the casting couch,
right?
It's like, you gotta do something to get something, kid, and it's like,
but that goes once again, like you can't count your what's the word, your fame or your triumphs over making it, blah blah blah. You know, it's like, dude, I mean,
you can be the most talented person and make one of the greatest movies you can, but if you're not in
cahoots,
because it doesn't get out there and blows up, doesn't mean you didn't do a good job and that you're not successful. It just means you didn't suck the right dick. That's all that means.
Which means that Neon Girl, I hear, is the greatest film in Ethiopia. I hear it's like winning Oscars. But over here, Junior's like, oh man, it's not good enough, man. It's not good. And they're over there, like everybody wants to jump on Junior, like he's Weinstein.
It's like, what's his name? He was good in South Africa.
Exactly. Silvio Rodriguez.
No,
I go to Ethiopia. There he is.
Aurelius.
And who are you?
See, but I mean, keep that in mind. Okay, you're talking all this about how you feel about it and how the struggles and this and that. But what if someone told you? What if Weinstein turned around? Well, fuck Weinstein. Yeah. What if someone told you?
Well, that's
speaking of Weinstein.
This is the greatest film.
There are. That's the thing. That exactly is happening. We're sitting here and we're like, okay, this is what's wrong with the movie. This is wrong. Neon Girl, this happened, this didn't happen, whatever.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
We could practically say that about every production.
Oh, everyone.
Right?
Everyone.
It's the same thing. Like, again, it's another thing that Hollywood has done horrible of. Everything's perfect all the time. And you're like, if you really look at any perfect movie you think, you're like, yeah, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But if you're nitpicking, you'll find something wrong with it, right?
Right.
But there are people that know about your movie that saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
And they say it's good. Mm-hmm. They say, oh, yeah, it was good. Or
were you there for the opening?
Yeah. At the theater.
Yeah.
And there are people that, like, I've shown the movie, and they're like, okay, it's good. Yeah, they might say whatever, one little thing, but there's nothing what we're saying about it.
Mm-hmm. But it feels like a professional movie.
Yeah, it feels like a professional.
That's the thing.
It's right up there with the other high grade professional movies that, okay, they didn't make it. It doesn't mean, again, that they weren't a success with it.
But once again, my question is would you feel different if everybody was like all on your jock because of the film? Or would you all of a sudden turn around and go, yeah?
No, well,
yeah, no.
I think it. I have to feel like I'm satisfied with it. It's partly the hours and hours of spending time with that thing. I don't know what to think of it.
Okay, well, see, no, but once again, I think that's.
I don't know what if. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. And I think that's the thing, because I kind of have the same feeling that, like, because you were saying that Junior was feeling it before, of like wanting to do smaller crews, smaller production, right? When I drive home, sometimes I go down to PCH and I go right past where they're doing a production.
Right.
You see, like the 3 trucks, you see all the cameras and the crane and all the crew around.
I saw it yesterday.
Right, like a car, and it's a person driving the car, and you look at it and you're like, later on, for whatever reason, you figure out like it's in a car commercial.
Oh yeah, that's what I saw yesterday.
And I don't know why it bothers me, all that work
for just one
10-second shot in a car commercial, or even 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's way too much work for something so minuscule. Now they have the budget and the effort to do it, so go for it. But in our case, because we don't have the budgets, right? A lot of we're not even in indie in that sense,
right?
You know what I mean? Indie still have more budget.
Oh, of course.
Well, nowadays Hollywood movies have so many sponsors in them. They are basically a car commercial.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, car commercials cost more than indie films.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah. But that's why, because they have so much stuff to it. Yeah. And it's like, well, what if we did a movie that, it was a smaller crew, and it could still be a feature length, but you kind of know where it's going, and you kind of
and everybody drives Teslas.
And everyone drives Teslas. But it's, I think that's a part of why you feel like that, Junior, of like, all this effort, and it's not what you thought it would become. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. Well, if you did movies faster,
and to quote, George Lucas.
Okay, who's that?
He was there was a behind the scenes, and he was talking to his cinematographer guy, right? Yeah, and he was saying, my job. He was talking about himself. He was, my job here is just say faster, more intense, and just look depressed all the time. Because he doesn't say, that's what everyone has said, is that he doesn't give any direction. If he says, okay, let's do it again, they're like, what do you want, George? He says, just faster, more intense.
That's all you need. Hey, that's direction.
faster, more intense.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what? What Joey just said. This last short film that I did, there was one scene where I wanted the actor to be more intense.
Mm-hmm.
And I was struggling to say it.
Yeah.
And how should I have said it?
Faster, more intense.
Faster, more intense.
Yeah.
And it could have been like,
yeah.
Why explain it so much? Right? Why spend so much time trying to find the right word?
And I think that's also a thing that
faster,
we have.
more intense, please.
No. That's when you gotta have like a hype man. Like what was his name? He goes, okay. Little John.
Little John.
So then you go to Little John. Okay, Little John, come here. Okay, loud. Or something, you know what I mean? Sometimes you can't do it, so you're gonna have to say, hey man, go and tell him.
Yeah.
So or even like like your bouncer guy, you know what I mean? Because you basically, I think sometimes you're like,
they
okay.
They always have that in the old Hollywood movies. There's always that guy next to the director with a big
more intensity
funnel, you know?
or when you see that they're funded by mobster movies, like Bullets Over Broadway, they'll have the tough guy go over there and shake him up. Hey, the boss wants you to do it right.
You know what? I'll have like a clipboard that has all the verbs. Like make him more intense, and then have all these words under it. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? More intense. I don't. What does that mean?
Less estrogen.
Yeah, no, there was a story that on the first Star Wars movie, Lucas had fired the main directors. They had all these old Hollywood directors, and he didn't like them.
In the new Star Wars?
Yeah, and then he got a cold, and then he had like laryngitis, so he couldn't talk anymore. And so all the actors, they made like this chalkboard, and it just said faster, more intense. So you would just...
So what you're saying is, let's get to a point where it's like we're in a wheelchair pointing at the little...
Yep.
You should say it.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking style.
Directed by Stephen.
Yeah. Well, I think... That's another thing that being smaller than independent films, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our
micro budget.
I like that smaller than independent.
Pocket films, like it's literally we're literally doing it out of our pocket. Because of that, it's harder because you hear about this on other movies, like Stanley Kubrick would yell at his actors. It's harder though when someone's doing you a favor.
Yeah.
And they can't get to that part of the thing to go, fired, get the fuck off my set. Yeah. I could replace you because this is a 5-page script. I could replace you tomorrow.
It is harder.
It is harder.
Oh, yeah.
Because for us, right, like we get the actor and we're like, this is all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is busy. Everyone else is, I don't have anyone else to perform this right now.
Well, that's what happened to me in this last film.
Yeah.
And I'll say it because, I feel that this person was a good actor.
You can say that.
So I wanted the person to be in the film, but this person gave me a hard time right at the beginning. So right from the very start, I said, it looks like you don't want to be in this film. Yeah. So I had to say it right away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did they still have to stay? And
I said, I want you to be in the film because I thought that they weren't, doing their job doesn't mean I want to know why.
Yeah, some people have.
I want to know what's going on. What's
going on?
Yeah.
What was their excuse?
So then I said, let me know, and I'll wait for your call. So then they called me back and they said, they want to be in it.
But what was their issue though? Why were they?
They were actually.
Why were they committing?
They were actually. They were actually said that it might be their personality. They,
Yeah, that's done.
Again, that's where you look at them and go, "You're fired."
Yeah, or no, just thank you, but kindly, kindly walk away, please.
This is the thing. It takes a long time
to get everything going.
To get everything going.
So,
to get it going.
But they understand that would be hard for me, but I also understand it would be hard for them to get.
Why did you want this person? Because that's the only person that you could at the end.
Because I went through a big process and it was.
But so there wasn't no person 2, person 3.
There is person 2, person 3, but for the small amount of time and budget and just resources, and for the amount of work to do that, you kind of have to balance.
Yeah.
And make the choice.
Well, you balance the expectation to what you got.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I want this in Paris, and you're like, well, we got the beach here at the Oxnard Shores. That's all we got. Okay, let's take away.
Seabridge.
Yeah, I mean, you can still say it's in Paris.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're not going to shoot in Paris, right?
Yeah.
And I think I like the to quote the Facebook guy, Mark Zuckerberg, of the whole idea of like move fast and break things, right? And that's kind of almost what we need to do. Is like, okay, we only have one day to shoot. You only have that one actor to go. They're not giving you the performance that you really want. Okay, I'm going to shoot it the way it is. We're going to go through. It's not going to be the way I like it, but I'm going to go through the motions of it all the way to the very end of it. Let's shoot it. Let's edit it. Let's score it.
And that's why, that's why I went that direction, because there's a point whenever I do a project, there's a point where I say, this is the point where I can't stop.
Yeah, you can't.
So I have to go and finish it, right? So that's the point where, like,
because then you'll feel shittier if you even say,
it's so easy to not do it.
Not do a film.
To pull out.
The film is like one of the hardest in film or television. A film is the hardest thing to do.
There's a line in Macbeth where he goes, "I've drenched this far in blood. There's no turning back."
That's
and it's like because if you set your goal to finish the film that for me, even the short film is the hardest thing to do. But film versus music video versus commercial versus whatever. I mean, obviously people who do all these things are going to argue that's the hardest thing to do.
Oh yeah.
But in comparison, a film is probably, I would say, that the hardest thing to do when you grab a camera.
Well, I always tell people, like, making a film is like keeping a band together. It's like, it's so easy for the band to fall apart. For one person to say, like, oh, let's do this and that, and then
but I think that's also why it should be what we are going fast and just breaking everything along as we go.
Punk rocking it.
Of just like, go through, make your song. Okay, that recording was a little rough there, or the guitar had a buzz on it. Okay, that song's done. Let's go to the next song, and then if we can, we'll go back to it and fix it.
Refine
but right now we got a whole album to finish. Or else
you'll just forget it. We can't do this anymore. Yeah,
and I think though too, what we have an advantage of now rather than even 10 years ago, or with a lot of the stuff. Why this is a good time to start pushing like that, of cranking out just stuff as fast as you can, is because we have so many places you can show it. It doesn't just have to be in a theater.
Oh yeah.
Throw it out on YouTube, Vimeo, or whatever, and get feedback. Like I would say honest feedback. Not that we never get honest feedback, but get feedback from people that have no idea who we are, and they'll look at it, and you can take it with a grain of salt, like whatever they're saying, but we can do that now more than we could ever do before, because they'll watch it and they might say something that we, again, like how we're on the Neon Girl thing, on outside of us, everyone's like, well, the things that you guys are talking about, that wasn't the problem that we saw. It's this one, just this one thing. That's all you had to fix, or this one thing. That's all you had to fix. And but the more we do that, the more, it's like data. The more data you get, the better picture you can get out of it.
Like two of my better films, I first shot like a 5-minute short thing. And then I showed it to people, and they're like, oh, why don't you do more with that? So then the 5-minute thing became like a 15-minute thing.
Yeah.
And then even the love story one that I showed at the festival, it started out as like 10 minutes. And then when I showed it to people, they're like, oh, what is the guy doing in the story?
Oh,
like, because I kept focusing on the girl. Yeah. And that was my main idea of the script is to kind of flip what a love story is, where like the girl is the only one kind of like focused on the relationship. Yeah. And I wanted to show, like, at the very end, that we see the guy the whole time, just in one little scene, has also been doing the same thing. It's just we didn't cut to it. Yeah. But then the audience that saw it, they were like, we want to see the guy doing stuff, Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So then we went back and shot it, but I had no script for that, and so I called the two actors, and I don't know, it was Junior and the Carlos guy.
Junior, that's right.
So then
he played a cholo.
Yeah.
a guitar playing cello.
Well, that's why it was a great movie. Yeah, I understand.
That's when all the fans went crazy after that.
Yeah.
I've had friends say, "I saw you on that film."
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere.
Hey, you gotta do that voice though.
I remember you guys showed up, but you're like, "What are we supposed to say?" I'm like, you're just supposed to talk about this stuff," and you're like, "You don't have any." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, just."
I was that actor.
But the thing is,
just make it up.
You're the guy you don't like to talk to. Who's like, "What's my inspiration?"
Yeah. So,
but at the same time,
Joey, what's my inspiration? I don't get it, man.
Yeah.
I don't get
I know I don't like
Yeah.
I
actors
don't
tasking
trust
me
you,
that,
man.
but
You're just
what are you
you're
talking about?
giving them advice. That's all you're doing. Yeah.
You were saying, Lonnie?
no, I was just saying that in adding those scenes, you're able to the way that you had it set up, right? The way that what was shot on her side, it really didn't matter what you shot on the other side.
Yeah.
Because it did not necessarily, like it was its own story, parallel to the other story, but they were.
By the way, Lonnie, wait, weren't we supposed to be in a film like 2 weeks ago?
That's still in the works.
Oh, that's still in the works.
Oh,
Still in the
What
works.
film?
That
Okay, are we ready to talk about that film yet?
Yeah.
What
I
film
thought
is
that was a little.
that's still in the works.
That's the rabbit still in the hat.
That one is really small production, and the issue is like having the availability to keep the green screen up, because if she has a customer coming in, I can't keep it up. And then
Ooh, wait, what?
Yeah, I know.
Green
screen. I heard myself say it, and I'm like,
I can't keep it up. Oh,
that's why the other day I was talking about like I need a bigger space because I need it. I need to have like a studio space.
More playroom.
Even if this didn't have that wall.
Is that because you need a location, a restaurant or something, or what?
No,
just to do green screen and other stuff, just more move around space.
Leaving the green screen up the whole time.
No,
and lit and everything.
You do not need a new place. You just need smaller actors.
Just to have.
I mean, let's make this micro budget a real micro budget.
Let's just go really small. We'll just use G.I. Joe characters.
Thumbs. Okay, a couple of comments about working with actors that are not actors, and I was gonna mention Roadkill.
Okay.
Roadkill was inspired by a director named Russ Myers, who's a big inspiration to Tarantino, and he made Death Proof specifically. He was kind of like a grimy, like he took. What would you say? Kind of like Betty Page type of photography. That was his thing. He was an ex-military guy. I think he might have even done video in the military. But then he became one of these old kind of like, I want to shoot, girls, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But he was able to find like these actresses who are not actresses, and a handful of like guys that were just, Billy Joe Bob over here and his uncle. And they have a ranch, so we're gonna shoot at his ranch in the desert, and we're gonna have them in it. But once again, I'm pretty sure he wasn't super duper like, okay, you're gonna have this inspiration, you're gonna have that. Yeah. So you're able to basically work. That's the other thing is you gotta find what the kind of person that they are. But then again, that's a different kind of directing style, and that's a different kind of movie.
You can only do a certain kind of movie,
right?
Because you can't say like, I want to do Shakespeare.
Exactly.
You're not going to do Shakespeare. You're not going to do Star Trek either.
No.
Yeah, but then again, it's a directing choice of like, okay, I'm going to cast this person in this sort of role, and I know because they can only fulfill this kind of role,
right? And
they're not going to ask you, what's my motivation, because it's like you.
You are. Do your thing.
And you might say like, well, Junior's he's going to try to kill you in this scene. That's it. Your motivation is you want to get away from him. That's it. That's your motivation.
Your motivation is that you've been working a long day and you hate working your long days as a mechanic, and now you have to work another 20 hours. That's it.
That's it.
And bring your own ideas for that character, right? Like it's written one way, because what I've seen is like good actors. It's like, if you want to see how to act this line out, look at a script of a movie you've never seen, and read that line, and it looks sort of plain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, how you doing? And then you see the actor actually do it,
hey,
how
you doing? You know,
I would bet.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
You know, it's like, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You mean I could have done that? And you would not get mad at me, like as you know, as an actor. Yeah, that's what I mean.
I bet
bring it to life.
I bet you, like if you were to read a Tarantino script without, you can't even know what Tarantino does. Like if you were just, you know, it's the first time he wrote a script and he hands it to you, or like when what's the one that he wrote for
Miss Brown?
No, the other one,
Early on?
Stone directed it. It was the Natural Born Killers.
Natural. Okay.
Yeah, Natural Born Killers. When they read that, you don't really know what Tarantino does. You're looking at the script. Yeah, it looks like it reads plain. It reads.
But look at all the actors he gets.
The actors,
like what's her name? She's ordering, you know, pecan pie. You know, and the way she's saying it, and it's just, she's like all so animated. Yeah.
But that was all Stone direction.
Yeah,
because what's his name? Tarantino hated it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, the actor brought in something.
The actor brought that.
They brought it in when I was looking at your script, right? The one you know those lines. I'm like, because you wanted us to participate in that, and then it helps because as a director, I put myself in an actor's shoe and see like, wait a minute. I should be explaining to the actor, because some might not know, is that bring something, bring anything, bring something. Yeah. Think outside the box. What, you know, don't be afraid of experimenting with this actor
the other thing is I think some of those things you have to like do before you're on set.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if they're trying to make it fresh right there.
I believe in rehearsing.
There's ways that could backfire. Mm-hmm. Again, a Star Wars example. So in Force Awakens, last 20 minutes of the film, we see Luke Skywalker, right? And he turns around. He looks all kind of like, kind of sad, kind of like very kind of somber, right? And then the movie was over, and then they interviewed Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill even explained, the reason my character was so like upset and sad at that moment is because he knows his friend Han Solo just died, and blah blah blah. And then cut to the Last Jedi opening, they completely reshot the scene.
That's a whole.
And they changed it to where his character has no awareness that Han Solo died.
That's an example of.
It's like where the actor was not where the director was.
Yeah. Well, but like how Julio was saying, you have to create the character before you get on set, and you know what I mean. Like the director has to know, okay, you're going to do this with a hick accent, and you're going to do this with a limp, and you got to know that, right? In the story, and you look at that, and then you look at the script again to see, like, well, should we mention something about the limp? Should we? No, okay, not. Yeah. Because it's added in now, because now it's there. Or you have to look at it as, well, okay, do a hick accent. You know, you sound like a cartoon, and you talk, like don't do the accent. Yeah, don't do the accent. You know what I mean? But all that's done before they get on set. Again,
how much are you going to give it? A lot of juice, or are you going to get a subtle juice because you already have presence, so you don't need that much juice.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that we have in our productions. The ones that have gone better. It's hard to do a drama like that. It's hard to do anything. You have to be serious. To do it where it's perfectly like that. When you get to do roadkill, right? And you get to do stuff like that where it can be a little caricature, it can be a little over the top. That's where Tony D is great.
Right.
That's why you can't say I can't say enough about having a good actor. Oh yeah, like the best if you can, the best actor ever to do the lines, because then that would be like, whoa, that was the secret to a successful movie.
Well,
and
with my love story one, I think the ending scene where the guy and the girl are like kind of like communicating with each other, like the girl's in the dark in one room and he's in the dark.
Is that online?
That's online.
Wait, that's your ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes.
I forgot.
Okay. I need a link to it.
Yeah.
I want to put that in the show notes.
The actors weren't really like the best, but I think it was the lighting, like your lighting, Junior's lighting, and just the the
directing of
the directing.
Because toot your horn, buddy.
Because I knew that I wasn't going to get like the best actor, so I try to make the lines as minimal as possible. That way, I can just direct it and have them say the one line, but have the mood of the scene kind of say more than what they're actually doing. So then I had to really make sure that the scenes were constantly empty, so there's nothing distracting the audience.
Yeah. On it makes me think of Wayne's World 2.
Wayne's World.
Right? Because you could have the best actor in the scene where the guy goes, it's a janitor pushing the broom, and he says, "Do you know where it is?" And the janitor goes, "Gordon Street." Yeah, right. I want to do a girl on Gordon Street. And then Mike Myers literally looks at the camera and goes, "Can we get someone better to do this?" They take him out and they bring in Charles. And he does it. And oh my God, it's so much better. Because you feel it in just the same 3 sentences. But when you see it like that, you're like, you have to be careful that the caliber of your actors is even enough. Because if one's way too good, and all the other actors are down here, it's just they'll deliver it great.
Right.
It pulls away from the movie entirely.
I had to go see the movie Wolf. I think it was Wolf with
Wall Street.
With Jack Nicholson?
No, who's that guy?
Liam Neeson.
Wolf? Oh yeah, Liam.
The Hannibal guy. What's his name? Anthony Hopkins. Where it was and Benicio del Toro.
Oh yes,
that's
Wolfman.
right. Yeah,
that was Wolfman.
No, I think it's called.
No,
Wolf.
it's Wolfman.
I think it's called Wolf.
No,
I think it had both titles.
Right. So there's
Wolf was the Jack Nicholson one.
I think they're both called Wolf.
We're gonna look. Okay.
I think
let's bet $2 on that. $2.
Oh,
okay. $2 challenge.
All right. So there's a scene where Anthony
High
Hopkins
rollers
is talking to this kid. Right. The kid is a horrible actor, and he gives this the kid gives this delivery like, "Oh, Mr. something blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this scene is going to be awful." And then Anthony Hopkins responds as if the kid gave the best performance, and he gives a better performance, but he makes you at least believe that the scene is happening. You know. It doesn't matter if they're all equal as long as it's all there, Well,
what would have been crazy is if that kid got an Oscar just because Anthony Hopkins wrapped it around his performance and saved it, convinced the audience.
Yeah. There's this weird thing, again, with Star Wars. Everyone keeps talking about how Empire Strikes Back was the greatest film.
It kind of was.
They would always show the scene where Darth Vader goes, "I am your father," right?
Yeah.
And what they never do when they're showing you and telling you in these interviews that Empire Strikes Back is the best one, they don't continue the scene where Mark Hamill gives the worst performance and going, "No!" right? Because it is awful.
But when you were a kid, you were like,
"That's wrap around."
No, I think even as a kid, I'm like,
no,
like it hurt my ears every time I see it. But
it was the Squirm Raspberry Award right there, huh?
Yeah.
I go back to Stay Tuned.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that
shameless plugins all the way around this film.
All the way. There's going to be a lot of cell
that is our Stay Tuned and not the
one with
UFO.
I can't even think of his name.
UHF.
Not with Squid.
Jack.
No. Yeah. Jack Tripper.
No.
I saw him in a really bad good movie the other day
What's his
too.
name? I can't think of his
Ritter.
Yeah, Jason Ritter.
John
Ritter. Jason Ritter's son. But in Stay Tuned, not a single person, except for maybe Julio, was an actor.
Wait, I wasn't even in it.
No, but we literally, you were in it.
I was a voice, no?
No, you were.
That's right.
I
was.
Different people.
I was multiple people. That's right. Damn.
And that worked because of the way we presented it. It was an interview, but and then you kind of, some of the interviews you did tell them what it was, and then other ones you were like, no, we're
kind of suggestive.
Suggestive because you were trying to say it's about illegal aliens,
right?
But then it kind of worked in our way, and I think that's great directing.
Oh yeah, you were the gay guy.
Yeah,
I was one of the gays.
The gay guy, but then also.
I was a revolutionary.
The revolutionary. It could have been the same.
It could have been.
The voice wasn't the same. Oh, it's beautiful.
And then I was the French commentary guy too at the end.
Oh yeah.
The resistance.
It looks like Dick ran away. Oh no! But that it was good directing and good like looking at. Okay, here's our level of actors that we have available, and this is the only parts that we can pull out of them, and that's what we're going to do. And
right.
I mean, how many hours altogether of all the interviews that you shot that we had to go through and like, oh no, let's just take this one
part
sentence and this one part. Because that one had no.
Which once again, that was your genius right there.
But
yeah. You did.
This is where Hollywood copied us because District 9 was.
I know.
I know. Where they would film real people in South Africa just talking about. You know, like.
We talked about that last time.
Because they've copied a lot of our movies.
Right.
Her.
Yeah.
Holy
her, dude.
Title and everything.
Title and the movie Lars and the Real Girl.
Yeah, Lars. Totally, dude. If
we had made a feature, that's what it would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been.
Oh, but there is a French version of Lars too, and I saw it somewhere. I should have bought it.
That's not fair.
But I'm not sure, and that was the big thing. I wasn't sure if it was made around the same time as we made it, or like. Once again, I think the thought of influences and possibly, everybody's kind of surfing on the line.
Did you ever watch the new Pee-wee that's on Netflix?
Yeah.
Right? Did you see the scene with the girls when he picks up the
girl?
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just totally...
When he picks up the girl?
It was roadkill.
It was totally... They stole almost shot for shot.
He goes on the journey.
Right, on his road trip.
And then he's like on the road, and then these three girls like in a Volkswagen Bug or something pull up. And there are these three girls, and they're all dressed almost exactly the way you had in your film. And they literally do the same thing. Like, they almost want to kill them.
I forgot that part.
Yeah.
Take away the idea of the conspiracy that Hollywood stole our stuff, right? But what it is, to me, it is we were tapping into something.
Right.
We were like, you know what? People want to go this way.
No, yeah.
They want these type of stories or this sort of scene or this sort of scenario.
Which makes me think, sorry to cut you off, but like literally our ideas are sellable, dude.
Yes.
Like I mean, and once again, maybe we need to do like short versions of these podcasts with just the idea. I don't know, or maybe we'll burn ourselves out. We throw all the ideas out. But the idea is that like people want to hear, like these guys have a million ideas.
Yeah.
We just need to like, because I think that's what everybody keeps telling me is like, dude,
you got a lot of ideas.
You just need to find a person who has just got all this disgusting money.
We should do a podcast that's only 10 minutes long, and each of us get literally 30 seconds to like pitch an idea, and you just go boom, okay, next one, and then just keep going through or build on the next one of like, oh yeah, your idea, let's add this to that.
Hollywood just would tune in and start making our.
I know.
You know what?
Or we can make them. I mean, they're doing them anyways, right?
Yeah. Here's the thing: Lars and the Real Girl versus her, right? Or even her. It's the same idea, but when they execute it, it's a different movie.
It's totally different.
A totally different movie.
Yeah.
Anyone could take our idea, and that's not to say that we made ours, but the French one might have been made before ours. We didn't take theirs.
I wish I would remember what the French one was because I was like so excited.
This is what Hollywood does. Remember the example with the Battle Royale?
Oh yeah.
Hollywood will refuse to make an American version of Battle Royale because it is so similar to the Hunger Games that
I thought Hunger Games was exactly that.
Hunger Games literally they don't want to admit it.
That's Battle Royale, dude. That's why I was like,
if they make like an American version and put it in the theaters, it'll all of a sudden be clear to everybody.
Oh yeah,
that Hunger Games ripped it off.
But that's the thing.
That's why they're burying the film.
That's why I think though, let's put out the ideas out there. You know why? Because one we know, no one idea makes you famous. Mm-hmm. You get in there and you build another one, you build another one, you build another idea. We have ideas all the time. Let them steal the little idea and go try to make that movie and horribly execute it. Mm-hmm. When we make it, we're going to turn around and make it. You only have copyrights on it if it's literally shot for. We could redo Star Wars if we wanted, our way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if we went out and tried to do it shot for shot, and you're Luke and I'm Darth Vader, and you're trying to copy Star Wars. But if we changed it and it's all,
I think Joey's done that before.
Yeah.
I have not done a Star Wars tribute film.
Yeah, well, the thing is you could, but then change
Star Wars
it. You don't call
editing.
it Star Wars. You make it something else.
See, well, I like it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we could put our ideas out there without the fear of someone's going to take it and make $1 million off our idea. It's like, no, they made $1 million off their idea. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah, we gave them the idea, if ever. Mm-hmm. But it's like, well, one, we didn't make it. We didn't go out and produce it. Mm-hmm. And two, we didn't write out the dialogue that they're talking about. We didn't write out how the shots are going to be. We didn't pick the music that they picked. It's not just the idea that sells it.
Well, it's like in the Social Network where the twins were trying to sue the Zuckerberg guy because they came up with the idea, and they're like, well, I actually came up with the software.
Software's different. Yeah. Software is a lot of like the execution of how that gets out there. Mm-hmm. That's what they're trying to say. You stole that idea. Like I said, you could make like there's a movie called Laser Sword, which is literally Star Wars, kind of a ripoff of Star Wars, but the Italian version. They can make it and not get sued. Mm-hmm. And not that we're trying to copy anything. It's just if anyone tries to copy us off of any idea we say and put out there, it'll never be exactly what we had in our head. Mm-hmm. And we can still make our own version and put it out there. But if they made $1 million, it's not because of the idea. It's because of the whole execution of what they put together. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm sure if we got the script to the movie Commando, we could not make Commando because Arnold Schwarzenegger made Commando. Like having him in there made that.
Hey, this is another conspiracy theory. Why is there no real Arnold Schwarzenegger movies on Netflix?
Because
I think he doesn't.
There's a lot of no movies on Netflix.
Yeah, there's a lot of no good movies. There's like zero like high end. Mm-hmm. There's no Criterion type of movies on there. Yeah. There was for a moment a couple here and there. I mean, there was still like artsy films.
Yeah.
But very few, and that's my big thing about there. I think that what's it called? Netflix is too much of a like mind control movies.
Yeah.
They're like kind of putting you on a certain kind of brainwave.
Yeah, every Netflix original that I've ever watched, you could tell they're just doing like a tribute to other films. Yeah. Like I watched one film and it was basically
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things.
Whatever, dude. Yeah. Whatever.
Well, the
nostalgia junkies.
Well,
come on, dude.
So I was in LA and I was doing Lyft and I picked up one of the licensing people for Netflix, right? So I asked him, like, what is the deal with all these, like, kind of, like, remake kind of shows?
Rehash.
And they said, she was talking about the Lost in Space series that they started doing. Mm-hmm. And it was, that was one of our new licenses. So they just will go out and buy all these licenses for these old projects. Yeah. Because I was asking him, you know, like, she was telling me that Lost in Space is not for the Matt LeBlanc series. It's actually for the original. So it's supposed to take place off of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And but it's like they have like a whole vault full of licenses, and they're just waiting.
Because
shoot them.
Netflix isn't stupid. They know that the nostalgia train is a great train to jump on. Why make something from
scratch, dude? Yeah. Once again, the wiring is already there.
Yeah, it's already there. Why make anything from scratch?
Okay, I'm gonna cut in just because I have a thought. Yeah. That's my other thing. Like my last project, which you guys saw, Junior was a major part of it, which was the Michelle Serro's poem. And that was it was very easy to do that film, and it wasn't. I mean, it was a pretty good quality project for something that was done very, very simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the reason that was because, just like Netflix, who's kind of like riding on the nostalgic pony or writing on something that people already have in mind. Mm-hmm. This was based on a poet, famous poet locally that was renowned throughout at least the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so everybody from the cast to the people who were helping make production.
Has to say what's my motivation. Because they know
everybody had like they knew they were a part of something bigger than just a short film.
It's like doing a Shakespeare movie.
Exactly. And if everybody's already been, invested in that. Yeah. So just like Netflix, I think that we need to somehow catch the trends and basically create something that is like already has a built-in audience or is looking for an audience is looking for that kind of like thing. Yeah. That's the other thing that I think that really like, I mean, because we could create a million amazing stories, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if there's no kind of like thing to engage the audience because they already have a thing in it.
Yeah.
Even if it's like a microculture.
Yeah.
Let's just say, for example, furries. You know what I mean? Like there's like people are dying if you could make
like
a
we said,
really
there's no such thing as fringe or microcultures anymore. Everything has its own mainstream.
right.
If you could tap into it,
Yeah.
you all of a sudden have this huge built-in audience.
Well, like every idea that I've ever like discussed with like when I talk to Lonnie or something, it's always like I first start with like whatever the trend is, and then I try to come up with an idea that turns that trend on its head.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and so it's like you sort
It
of
still
are
is
kind of-
engaging it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're still sort of kind of using that, but it's actually causing people to question that trend.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not to say let's go by numbers and follow the exact formula to fulfill that genre or that audience's expectations. But I like I don't know if you're aware the Asylum, the production company behind like Sharknado and all that stuff.
Okay.
Their whole thing when they started out was all the way back, and I almost got to work with them.
Wow.
I
Really?
I didn't know about the appointment that I had to come in to be an editor. I didn't know, like they left a message and I didn't know about it, so I didn't show up.
Oh no.
Oh, whatever.
And this is before they were big.
They're lost.
They're lost. Yeah, exactly. But they started way back when Blockbuster was around. And you know how like Blockbuster, they would have movies. They would have The Terminator, right? And they put it out. They only have, though, 5 copies of The Terminator. And then what would happen is, right, people would come in and they go, hey, I want to rent The Terminator. And then they're like, well, we only have, that guy just rented the last copy of The Terminators and it's gone, right? The Terminator's gone.
So I had the
Tornado. Yeah, no, exactly. That's what it was.
It's called Transmorphers.
No,
Transmorpher.
No, was it Transmorphers or the Terminators? I think it was Transmorphers is the Transformers one. Terminators is the Terminator ripoff. Take the idea.
So and it's for people who didn't know that they were
exactly.
getting that?
You would go because they make the cover kind of look like
Yeah.
Purposely,
It's like for my uncles.
Yeah, exactly.
Those bastards tricked my uncles.
Like, well, I mean, the way that they started doing the Mad Max ripoff movies,
exactly.
The Bronx Warriors, there was like a bunch of them.
So they would do that, right? And they got a contract with Blockbuster and other big chain ones because they were like, hey, you can make these crappy, okay, decent movies. We know it's not going to be like porn, you know what I mean? But like, you can make these movies that seem close enough, but you can't get sued. So yeah. They would go out, find Ghostbusters, and they go like ghost catchers.
Yeah.
Just enough. And then when you watch it, it's nowhere near the same story.
No.
Yeah.
But it's enough to where you get the idea.
Yeah.
But like you.
And it fulfills that trend.
It fulfills that trend. So they did movie after they were doing I think 4 movies a year.
And renting them for the same $350.
What were their budgets?
We used to rent movies for
their
$350.
Budgets, I think they were only like 100,000, 200,000.
Yeah.
Like when you watch their first ones, they're horrible. They're like they're really low budget in that sense. Because again, right, it's not overnight. It's not like they started there. They even had horrible ones before that.
Yeah.
Once they got the Blockbuster deal, they got a little better, but they're only like 100. I think at the most $300,000 budgets at that time. And then, at the same time, what they were doing, because Blockbuster went away, they had this huge catalog of horrible movies they made that they cranked out. Sci-Fi came along, the Sci-Fi channel, and they needed content.
Right.
Horrible rip-off content.
Yep.
Anything.
That
they didn't have to pay a lot
Fill
of
it
rights
in.
for. So they bought it, and then they went through and they said, hey, make more. Make Shark. Now they're like, okay, we're going to make Sharknado. We're going to make all these horrible.
We're going to run with our cheesiness.
Run with it.
Yeah.
And then they ended up making Z Nation, which is it's literally a ripoff of The Walking Dead, but it had its own thing. And then from there, they made what was the other one? They had another bigger. In other words, they learned how to make a production, make it fast, these things out, and how to write a story, how to structure things, and how to produce it and get it together, and have horrible B-rate actors, as you see in like Sharknado. But then they got a little better, and they got a little better, and then they were able to just throw everything out there and do their own productions. So yeah, let's go in, and any movie that we want that you see, you practically could write your own version of the script,
Right.
change either the scene, the name, the gender, or whatever, And then it's your own movie now.
The thing is where I think I mean, and this is talking low of us, but high of us. Yeah. I think that we're talented enough to really take any script and make it our own, to tell you the truth.
Oh, exactly.
I think that we literally have that. I mean, I would even say that most of our stuff is that.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicharron was pretty much a mariachi.
Yeah.
But done it on something else.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, we can do that. And that's why I'm saying, like, if we did this thing where we shot out every idea we ever made of, let anyone take it, it will never be, it'll be theirs. Mm-hmm. Even though it's somewhat our idea, it's, we didn't write the 100 pages or even 20 pages they wrote.